Smiths, play that Tom Hanks clip.
Read a New York Times piece on a 100-year-old survivor of the Tulsa Massacre. And my question was this: what's the Tulsa Massacre? You know, I was taught American history every 3 years growing up. 5th grade, 8th grade, what comes after 11th grade, and then I studied in junior college, and I've read it ever since for pleasure. How is it that it wasn't until 2 years ago that I heard about the Tulsa Massacre? How is that possible? I've heard about Custer's the Little Bighorn. I heard about the Alamo. You know, I heard about the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire. You know, I heard about all kinds of disasters in which people died. But I had never heard about this thing that happened in 1921, only 3 years before my dad was born.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
I was thinking about, you know, this political landscape that we're in and all of the things that are going to be leading up to this midterms in 2026, but also a lot of elections 2025. You know, I've been thinking about, you know, Party of Lincoln, but, you know, there's the Lincoln Project. They can have that and keep it. But the philosophy behind it, as Jamie Harrison hopes to rewrite history and his place in it, you guys sat there and Westmore, Governor Westmore, in your face, basically said to you, you failed as the head of the DNC, chasing these phantom people that are never coming back, and you sitting there agreeing. I remember. You don't get to wiggle away from the responsibility, and I'm not just coming for you. I'm coming for the entire institution that puts us in a position to make the lesser of two evil choices. I don't want to have to make the lesser of two evil choices. Never again in my life. I hate that. I will do it because I'm always going to lean into us and make sure that I'm going to vote for our common humanity, rights, and resources. But I hate bad choices. I hate a monkey paw. I hate it. And we don't have to be there. So what I did, you know, right after the election, I'm sitting there looking at the map, and there's several key seats, you know, and I like this idea of Democratic states gerrymandering the Republicans out of power. Come on. They're giving you the blueprint in Texas, and this is a dry run. Texas is a dry run for what they want to do all over the damn country. Do it right along with them. Oh, you want to play this game? What are you afraid of? California, New Jersey, New York, what are y'all afraid of? Let's go. You got the numbers. Run a Boston. If this is a game and the board and the chips on the board, play the freaking game. We the people are at the mercy of these motherfreakers that don't have the backbone to do the thing that needs to be done. Now's the time. By the way, now is the time. We ain't going to wait till November 2026 to be, how do we get here again? This is how. You didn't have the fortitude to do the thing now. Do it now. Okay. So I reached out. I looked at the map, looked at Ballotpedia, and I said, all right, the person that lost in Nancy Grace's seat in the Democratic primary, the person that came in second, is Central Casting white boy. Central Casting, I mean, he's got the fresh face, he's got the background, the Christian background, all. He ran as a Democrat, he came in second. I said, these people are so stupid and racist that he could win against Nancy Grace if she runs again. But if she doesn't, he could win. He came in second, he got this many votes. I did the math. So I reached out. To him. Now, who am I? Nobody. But I think I'm sitting here every day. At least you can come in. We can hatch a plan. A lot of people live in South Carolina. A lot of black people live in South Carolina. A lot of black people live in South Carolina can register as Republicans. We could do this. So I presented the plan to him. Are you open to this? And he just was struggling. And I said to him, you don't even have to change your platform. Because here's the truth. Poor whites want the same thing that poor blacks want, except they want it to be whites only. poor, middle class, working class, white people want the same thing that everybody else wants. And you fit the bill physically. People don't vote based on platforms. Maybe New York's going to change that New York mayoral election in November. I hope so. But mostly people are voting identity, unfortunately, whether they like how they feel about a person. I like them, I don't like them. Well, we wouldn't have Trump. We wouldn't have Trump if people actually voted based on. Kamala Harris was the most qualified candidate, probably. This is a woman that served in every branch of government. More qualified than Hillary Clinton. Not only was Kamala Harris in the judiciary in California, she was also a senator, which means she was in the legislative branch, and she was also in the executive branch as vice president. More qualified than Obama in terms of having served in every branch of government. Having served in every branch of government. And then look at background. Yes, both parents were immigrants. It's an immigrant story. But her mother rooted her and grounded her in this Black Panther movement that was coming up in the Oakland area. Like, y'all, is she Black enough? Most of y'all ain't celebrate Kwanzaa. She did. Like, I didn't grow up celebrating Kwanzaa. Can we stop all of that, right? Couldn't get elected. So y'all, people are voting. They're voting their emotions. And you, central casting white boy, fit the bill. You can win. I can't. I'm a Democrat. I said, what does that mean? Well, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to change any of that. You know, when the Southern strategy happened, none of them people that were Democrats that became Republicans changed the damn thing other than the R or the D. The racist ass Democrats became racist ass Republicans. They didn't change anything. It was a strategy. Do you get the strategy? I can't. I said, okay. It was such a fight that I was like, all right, here's my number. Call me if you really want to do this. We can, I can backdoor mount some campaigns and we can get some things going and get you, because we ain't got a lot of time. Haven't heard from him. I'm not going to put his name out. Y'all can Google search, go on Ballotpedia. But I was thinking about him today because I said, damn, this was a layup for somebody who clearly wanted to be in Congress. You're not going to probably win the Democratic seat. You can win this. That lady got a handful of votes. Nancy Grace is a disaster. And even if she's not running again, whoever's running doesn't have her name recognition. You can win that flipping parties and people will vote for you the way a lot of people voted for Al Green thinking it was, people voted for him thinking he was the damn singer. At me, you Google search the stories, okay? This is a layup, and it can happen in multiple places. But I feel like people are so wedded to, and I said to myself, is he so wedded to this Democratic Party that he doesn't see that the people in his district are wedded to the whiteness? And maybe he doesn't see the wedded to the whiteness much the way Bernie Sanders and other people can't comprehend it because they've been white their whole lives. That they just, it's just in their, they don't see it. Is that possible? That they just don't, I don't see color. Maybe they really mean that. And I was like, that could be the problem. That they don't see it. When 3/4, that Washington Post survey still sticks in my craw because it was powerful when I read that piece. It's behind a paywall now, but 10 years ago when it came out, everybody could access it. I'm trying to get a PDF version so I could post it in Newbie. I want to keep it somewhere. When you read that whole story, what was stunning to me was something that I hadn't considered before. That people, of course, people self-segregate, but the self-segregation means they have no understanding of this country, of the foundation of it. They don't read anything. When you think about Tom Hanks not knowing about Tulsa and being shocked about it, and so many people, when Watchmen came out, by the way, we have a clip, Smith. We can find that Tom Hanks clip. I can get another clip off the thing. When you think about Watchmen and Lovecraft Country being the introduction point for the massacre at Tulsa, but there were dozens, maybe hundreds of towns decimated by the exact same kind of racism, terrorism, domestic. People were shocked. Much the way folk were looking at TV, seeing black women dragged through the streets and fire hoses and dogs being sicked on black people, people being bashed in the head, Bloody Sunday. People were horrified seeing that on television during the Civil War. They couldn't imagine that people were doing this. And so they're having an alternate experience in this country. They don't see it. Maybe that's the problem. So let's have a conversation. Let's keep talking. 866-801-8255. And Smith, play that Tom Hanks clip.
Read a New York Times piece on a 100-year-old survivor of the Tulsa Massacre. And my question was this: what's the Tulsa Massacre? You know, I was taught American history every 3 years growing up. 5th grade, 8th grade, what comes after 11th grade, and then I studied in junior college, and I've read it ever since for pleasure. How is it that it wasn't until 2 years ago that I heard about the Tulsa Massacre? How is that possible? I've heard about Custer's Little Bighorn. I heard about the Alamo. I heard about the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire. I heard about all kinds of disasters in which people died. But I had never heard about this thing that happened in 1921, only 3 years before my dad was born. In the same year that Donna Reed was born, we didn't hear about this thing that happened in which essentially one of the most successful black communities in America, Black Wall Street, in which everybody was not only burned out of their homes and their businesses, but then driven out of the city limits by an angry mob of, I'm sorry, white people. How is it that this was not taught to me? Because I tell you, at the age of 10, when I was in 5th grade, living in Oakland, California, that would have been a moment of enlightenment for me. That would have told me something very, very different about the city I lived in. Not just American history or the city of Tulsa. And it made me mad. It made me mad that somebody had somehow made an editorial process of what was appropriate for us to learn about our own American history. It made me angry that it took until I was, I'm 60, I'll be 66, just about 2 weeks after Juneteenth, I'll turn 66. And it took me 54 years in order to find this out. It's not right. It's not right, and it's doing a disservice to all of America.
Yes. It's not just that white people are racist. They don't know. They don't really know. Of course, we know about the Trail of Tears, but do you really know? I mean, I'm arguing with black folk over what's going on reservations. Because there's this notion that all of the Native Americans got reparations and therefore you don't even know. And it's on purpose. The ignorance is bliss because it allows us to skip along, live our lives, not have to think about it. And there is a responsibility. And Tom Hanks is angry. You should be angry too. Everybody listening to my voice, you should be angry too. If it wasn't taught in your school. DeMario Solomon Simmons, raised in Tulsa, Oklahoma, didn't learn about it. In the wake of the very place, didn't learn about it in school. It is not in the curriculum, and it's going to be worse. More things are removed. And this is why we also need to talk about what our children should be reading, how we should be engaging with our children, topics and things, and having these conversations. Yes, we should be talking with our children. But how?
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will